So I was reading recently about how Gap Kids was facing kind of a PR nightmare. They put out an ad for back to school that showed a little boy wearing a t-shirt that promoted intelligence and Einstein, which they actually spelled wrong.
Oh, jeez.
And then a little girl going back to school wearing a t-shirt that promoted her as a social butterfly.
Yeah.
You can imagine that sparked a lot of controversy over
Yeah.
gender bias, sexism, and when there's a real need at this point in time for us to really empower young women.
Right.
So needless to say, Gap Kids is kind of facing a bit of a brand nightmare,
Yep.
PR crisis.
Right. Well, we've seen it time and time again. I think countless numbers of companies and brands have made mistakes, whether intentional or unintentional. I think Cheerios recently is one that strikes me. I don't know if you saw the advertisement they put out when Prince passed away, but in order to show tribute to Prince, they put out an ad that said RIP and the I was dotted with a Cheerio.
Oh yeah,
They
I saw
felt
that.
they felt that was something that was meant to be good and respectful, but unfortunately it just did not go over very well with the public.
Yeah, and I think both of those situations and countless others speak to a real need for brand and PR crisis management.
Absolutely.
And reputation management.
Yep. So I think there are a couple of different ways to address it. Denying is one. It doesn't always go over so well. It's especially not good if you've actually done what you say you have not done, but it is a strategy.
Yeah, or some try and avoid it altogether.
Yep.
But by not telling their side of the story, they're allowing others to tell the narrative for them.
Yep.
And so they often don't get across the intention or their side of the story that is necessary.
Right. So then another way would be to pivot, where you take what's been going on, the bad, and try to pivot away from that and control the message. So you're at least maybe talking about what's been happening, but trying to steer it to something else that's more on message and more on point with your brand.
We'd both probably advocate the most just owning up to what it was that you did, perhaps the intention that you had behind it, but also perhaps that recognition about why it didn't come across the way you intended it.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is also then using that as a platform to show how you're going to address it and progress from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that transparency is something that everyone respects. So whether it's the consumer, a key stakeholder of really any kind, I think that everyone can appreciate honesty and transparency.
Absolutely.